BG3 just got its second official hotfix. I'm briefly going to go over the details on that, as well as some other user issues that people are still experiencing. I'm also going to give you some tips and tricks that I've learned on the way while playing Tactician, and the CEO had a few words to say about the release. We got a lot to talk about. What's up, World Shipper? Back in the video, we're checking out all things Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, so first up, let's just jump into the hotfix, then we'll go over those player issues. Now, this hotfix isn't terribly long, but they do have a few announcements at the top. One of them being that Baldur's Gate did actually hit over 800,000 concurrent players on Steam. This puts it into the top 10 most popular games of all time on Steam. And this is even without the PlayStation or Xbox launch. Absolutely insane to see, and I'm super glad that this game is doing that successful. Now, there was some crashes and blockers that were fixed. Blockers essentially pertaining to that if you come across anything that is blocking your progression in your playthrough. It's a couple UI fixes here and some save and reloading stuff. I will say for me a major issue in that maybe it's because I'm so far into the game, or because I've done so much and I have so much in my inventory. But for some reason when I do save, it is starting to stutter and lag. I do hope they fix that and address that, as that's one of my major complaints. I do save quite often, probably way too much, and I'm finding myself almost stopping myself from saving because I know it's gonna lag. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate there, but I hope that does get addressed eventually. They had a minor multiplayer fix here that fixed long fade outs when listening in on dialogues for multiplayer. They also had some gameplay fixes. This includes a ton of different boss stuff, so I'm not gonna put in exactly what they did. There's a ton of gameplay stuff here. If you want to go through it yourself, I'll have the hotfix notes down below. However, I don't want to go over anything with the bosses because that could be leading to spoilers, and realistically they are. Other than that, they did fix some clothing items with male sorcerer. They also did fix some stuff with the player model. They obviously did a ton of fixes for those boss mechanics and fights in general. Now, the UI got another version number removed, and they removed the version number that was below the minimap. So yeah, this game had version numbers everywhere. Version number in a cutscene, version number over here. I don't mind them. In fact, I wish they just put it in the menu, like when you hit escape and they just had it sitting there like in the bottom right. I'd be totally fine with that, and then you would know exactly what version number you're on. Although I guess it's good to see when you view videos on YouTube and things like that, trying to check out what version number people are on. They also did say that they improved UI stability by preventing possible crashes and possible save corruption. Hopefully that's leading to some of my stutter issues or improvements there. Now, the engine did get a bunch of retweaks as well. They fixed an issue when rendering on Vulkan when minimizing the game. They also added additional multiplayer servers and server scaling support. And they fixed an issue causing the wrong refresher to be applied if the game was not running in full screen. So maybe you were locked at 60 FPS. If that's were the case, this should be fixed now. Now, there's a ton of cinematic fixes here. They fixed over 200 dialogues that have long pauses and long silences. I've definitely dealt with that issue multiple times. It isn't a ton that I've been seeing it, but yeah, I'm definitely seeing the pauses and long freezes, or essentially that nobody is talking in the conversation. They also fixed a bunch of camera issues, things like pop-in and the angle of them. There's also several other specific dialogue and mocap fixes here, although I won't go into the specifics there because those do deal with spoilers and it kind of gets a little bit with the territory there. Also some character placement fixes, so depending on where they were positioned. Yeah, just a bunch of cinematic fixes there, and again, too hard to get into with all that spoiler stuff. We do have a few comments here on the Reddit about the hotfix and other player issues that are still happening. Apparently there's still an issue with the tiefling horns. However, they do know about this bug as it's been reported several times. Seems like there's some issues there with the actual in-game appearance and could be tied to a specific horn structure. I'm not exactly sure what the bug is here. No one really explained it, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. There's also a major issue with one of the bard proficiencies. So the Lord Bard proficiency can actually be picked now. However, you currently cannot swap out Sleight of Hand, Arcana, or Intimidation. There's some other people talking about stutter issues here. I didn't have any stuttering basically throughout my entire playthrough, aside from like 1 or 2 spots that were pretty heavy with environmental stuff. Other than that, my stutter issues come from actually saving the game. So I save my game, and then after it's done saving, my entire game stutters. I'm not sure if anybody else is having that problem. I don't know what it is, and yeah, I don't know how to fix it currently. Unfortunately, my save games go to my SSD instead of my NVMe. That might be the issue, but really shouldn't be. So yeah, I'm not really sure why I get the stutter issues when saving the game. I'm curious if you guys are getting that as well, so I know that I'm not just left out there. There's also someone here mentioning that hair color is still being bugged when in-game or in-game portraits, and also certain headwear makes colors super different in values for their colors and along with highlights. And then also on certain characters, or occasionally when you do put on a certain hat, it will actually change your hairstyle entirely. And I do think they cleared the tiefling horns. I think the tiefling horns are blocking the cinematics, so hopefully that does get fixed eventually. We also do have a major issue here. People are reporting that they're crashing instantly on startup. So with this new hotfix applied, they are reporting that they're crashing as soon as they launch the game. They filed some crash reports, and it doesn't seem like it's limited to them either. There's also several other commenters here saying that they are crashing as well. They've both repaired the Steam folder, they've deleted the level cache file, and they even verified the game on Steam. However, it doesn't seem like anything is working for them and they can't get the game to run. That is super unfortunate. I hope something is applied sometime soon to get that running. But there is also a fix here if this does help you guys if you are crashing. Essentially, if you change the launcher to run as administrator and also run the game as administrator or have it checked off in the properties, that seemed to fix a lot of the issues here for people. So I would change both the launcher and the game, or just run the game as admin or run the launcher as admin, and then hopefully that will fix the issues for your crashes. And also there's some issues with Drow as well. Apparently the Drow are supposed to get dancing lights, but they are not receiving that as of right now. And then of course the Bard has those issues from the College of Lore where there are preset and you cannot change them. It also seems like they didn't fix the multiplayer glitch where other people join your party and they're there permanently. I do hope this gets addressed sooner than later because this is a pretty major bug. Someone also pointed out that Shadowheart occasionally will have an exclamation mark above her head and she doesn't say anything or have anything new to say. I have noticed this too. This happened to me for the first time last night. I was super confused, but she had nothing new to say, and yeah, so that can happen if you are experiencing that bug as well. Now the CEO, Swen, actually did have a few thoughts on the release and everything going on so far. There is an article here by PC Gamer that said, I was kind of hoping it would take longer for Baldur's Gate 3 to ruin my life, and Swen responded here by saying, I love reading this. This is the feeling we love in games we love, and it's what we inspired to create for others, made my day. He also added here, it writes this because there is so much talk about the industry and platforms and hardware and competition, what have you. Whereas really, most game developers really just want their players to have a good time. And when you achieve that as a developer, it makes you happy. I definitely understand that, and I'm super glad that Swen is happy about the release of this game, and I'm also happy that this game has taken off so well. Now, I also wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks for your playthrough, and just a few things that I've noticed that others don't really know about in combat and things like that. It might be a common one if you didn't know, but you can actually res from range. All you have to do is heal somebody. You really don't even need to take Shadowheart's like revive ability. In fact, you could just use her heal and just constantly heal teammates. I also have a ring that allows me to heal on my character, which is a wizard. It's a really cool mechanic there. I can constantly be reviving my teammates up, and yeah, that's definitely how I've defeated a few bosses. I know it's a bit of a controversy, but if you are playing on Tactician mode and you're finding it rough with camp supplies, I'd recommend just turning your game down to Explorer and then just use 40 camp supplies and then switch back to Tactician. I don't like the change there. You could still do a partial rest if you really wanted to. However, I do feel like the camp mechanic is there so that you can essentially talk to your party. Sure, it replenishes spells, but I could always just go to a trader and buy more supplies if I really needed to. However, there are a few times that I would just like to rest. It's not even that I need my spells back. I just want to rest and talk to my team because I feel like they have something to say, and normally they do. I get that I could partial rest, but then it's just taking more time up. But if you want the challenge from having lower camp supplies, then go right ahead. That's about covered for today's video. If you like and subscribe. Until the next one. Deuces.